Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. This is your host for the session involving the indicators explanation. Today we will be considering one interesting indicator. We are now considering various Tom Demark indicators. In last session, I had explained to you the properties and possible uses of the Tom Demark indicator. Now we will consider another indicator which has been developed by Mr. Thomas Demark. The name is TD Sequential. This is the indicator which is helpful to determine the range of the markets as well as the momentum. If it is trending or if it is sideways, we can use this indicator to get the price action data, and it helps us in interpreting that data in a helpful manner. So we are going to consider its properties and some of the applications which we can use to determine the trade entry and exit for a higher probability trading. So let us now head to the JForex 4 platform, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. You will find this indicator amongst the overlap studies. Else you can simply do a quick search and there it will be. Let's see where it is listed, and it should be here in this list TD. Okay, so this is below the TD combo. We will consider TD combo in the next session. This session we will see what we can do. What are the possible ways in which we can customize these TD sequential indicator to get us good entry and exit point. So now I will plot it on this chart, which is the Euro USD hourly time frame chart. All right, and I have used a zoom in of 150. So we are seeing the chart in enlarged frame still. These numericals, I'm not sure if they are clearly visible to you or not. So I would suggest that if you have another window open, so you can open your own JForex floor platform, and there you should plot this TD sequential indicator. It is the numbering system, and it starts from 1 to, then you can say that it can go to infinity, but we don't really get such kind of moves in the market where we will have the single trend, whether it is up or down, remaining for all the time. In the markets the trend keeps changing, and even if the trend doesn't really change, we will have some retracement. So because of that, we will have continuous fluctuations from upside to the downside, and from the downside to the upside. So here we get these numericals plotted with two distinct numbering systems. Whenever we have the close of current candle below, sorry, above the fourth last candle close, then we will have this current candle's closing value, determining that it is now showing some tendency to turn from bearish to bullish, so it will be numbered 1. And if we have subsequent candles with the closing value above the candle which had closed 4 candle periods back, then that will remain in bullish territory. So it will start from 1 and goes on to rise to, with numbering done for 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And if it changes, if we get the current candle close again below the candle close of last 4 candles, then we will have again it changing the trajectory from bullish to bearish. So we will get again the number 1 with red ink, so it will be indicative of the momentum again turning from bullish to bearish on this chosen time frame. So it will be simply comparing the current candle's closing value to the candle which had closed 4 candle periods back. So this will give us an idea of the trend. If we see that continuously we have the current candle close holding and sustaining above the candle which had closed 4 candle periods back, then that is indicative of the continuous strength on the upside. And if we see the picture bearish where we have the candle closing value continuously below the fourth last candle close, then that is indicative of the bearishness prevalent in the underlying instrument, and it is better to go for the short sale trades. But sometimes what happens that we don't really get any sustained trend moves. Rather than that, for a couple of candles we have the indicator indicating the bullish tendency, and then again the momentum changes, the trajectory changes, and we get the plotting of the output of the TD sequential in the bearish territory. So all the indicators have this kind of you can say cons or some drawback, and that is also visible in this TD sequential indicator. So what I do usually is that I place more importance on the initial trend change, and if I see that there is a accompanying price move in the same direction, if there has been substantial pricing movement in the current candle close, which is showing the one as the output value for any direction. It can be bearish or it can be bullish. And if we have the price move in a similar direction, which goes on to rise or decline substantially, and then it closes with those gains or losses, then I feel that it will have higher probability of continuation in the same trajectory. So you can utilize this kind of formation, and of course we will have to devise various ways in which we can customize these indicators. So this is one possible customization where we also give some weightage to the price volatility and how that particular candle in question closed. So that can also be utilized. Else you can simply consider the possible turnaround after you see that if there has not been any significant trend in the recent past, and we have seen most of the candle close output values for the TD sequential in between 1 to 4, then that is indicative of the consolidation phase, and you can define the range. And whenever you see the price move closer to the range on the lower side or on the higher side, you can take the trades to take advantage of the trade of that range. As long as that consolidation range holds, you will be making money on both sides, buy as well as sell. So even in that kind of scenario, this TD sequential indicator helps a lot. So this is a multi-purpose indicator. If we see the continuous trend on the one side, then we will have these numbers on the rise, starting from 1 to all the way to even 10, 20, etc. And if we don't really see and that kind of situation, but if it continuously changes from one side to another side, then that can be indicative of the consolidation phase. So both ways we can rely on the indicator to make informed guesses, and you can also utilize the formation with multiple time frames. You can use larger time frames like hourly, not hourly. Hourly is generally considered to be a shorter time duration. So 4 hourly or daily, and even if you want a confirmation on the weekly basis, then you can even take into account the weekly pricing data and see on what side of trend the underlying instrument is on the larger time frame, and then you can make the entries using the lower time frames like 15 minutes or hourly, whichever suits your purpose, to get the entry in the same direction of the larger time frame trend. So you can use multi time frame strategy using these TD sequential indicator. So this is one of the possible uses. There are many ways you can utilize this indicator. Now let us see what can be done. Generally, we don't really get many editing options with this indicator, as there is not much to edit. All you can do is change the candle time frame. We don't really have any editing option given to us. So it is always about interpreting the time frame scales. If you suppose, for example, let us take the example of this large hourly candle on the Euro USD chart, where we have this output of the TD sequential showing one in the bullish side on the buy side. So that is indicative of the output change for the TD sequential from bearish to bullish. But we don't really know if it is going to sustain or not. If we apply the mechanism of these candle closing value being substantially higher than its opening price, then that means we can expect this upside momentum to last at least for a couple of hours, next couple of hours. So in this kind of scenario, if we feel that on the lower time frame, say for example 15 minutes, if we are able to figure out the opportunity in the initial stages of the possible move on the higher side after having seen some correction or consolidation, so that can be considered, and that we can go for a new fresh initiation of the position on the long side. So here we had this substantial move, then the Euro USD has gone into some correction and now it is holding closer to these 0.996 levels. Suppose if, for example, in the next 15 minutes or sometime after that, if we see the 15-minute candle closing above the fourth last 15-minute candle, then we will have again the output for the TD sequential turning from bearish to bullish, and that might be the opportune moment to get involved if you are relying on the multi-time frame strategy of hourly and 15 minutes combination. So that way one can utilize this indicator, and this is only one of the possible uses. It's not that I am recommending you to use this combination only. You can try out the 4 hourly combination also. If you see that the trend is now changing on the 4 hourly side also, then you can use lower time frames like 15 minutes, half an hourly, 5 minutes. So all that can be done, and all it is going to help you in figuring out higher probability trades, as we can expect the initial trend change on the larger time frames like 4 hourly or daily to last at least for next few 4 hourly candles. At least it will go into the consolidation phase. So if we use, say for example, 4 hourly candle, then if we expect this bullish up move to last at least three next 4 hourly candles, then that is indicative of the 12 hours worth of data on the lower time frame. And we can try to play the range, and we can try to look for opportunities to go long on the lower side of that range. So these these are some of the uses, some of the possible formations which we can rely on while looking to profit from these TD sequential indicator. So, guys, if you have any idea or if you have any query regarding these TD sequential indicator, you can give me a feedback. You can write to me in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to take the discussion forward. So here we will be wrapping up the session. As I said, we can't customize this indicator much. All we can do is change the time frame. So if you want to play around with this indicator, the formation is quite simple. All it does is compare the closing value with the prior closing value, and on the basis of that, it plots the output value, which is going to give us the directional guidance of underlying instrument being bearish or bullish, depending on how the price move has evolved in recent past. That's the use of this indicator. So I will be signing off for this session. I will be back tomorrow with a new explanation, new uses of another Tom DeMark indicator. So do come back tomorrow for further developments in the market. You can check out the coverage provided on the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. I have also included the link for the JForex 4 platform in the bio, so you can use it. If you haven't really installed it yet, you can check it out, and it will give you a easy interface to execute the trades. That's it for the day from my side. I'll be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new explanation. Till then, have a fabulous time, make a lot of money. Goodbye.